Board games have a high threshold for new players to get into. In Equity, the board game, we tried to make our rulebook so easy that you only have to read the first 4 pages just to get to know the different cards, and then already on the next page you may begin to play the game. In addition to that, I'm going to attempt to make a 3-minute how to play video. The first thing you do when you're playing Equity is to give each player 3 stocks from the stockpile and 1 action card from this pile. Then each player receives 50,000 Equity dollars. Everyone throws the dice, decide who begins. Let's say this player begins. On the beginning of each game you put the bull on the single stock square. The first player starts by throwing the dice, and then you look at your stocks and add up the numbers. I have 1 of these, so this will give me 200. I have 2 of these, so this will give me 300. I add that together, that's 500, and then I multiply that with the eyes on the dice. That gives me 500 times 3, 1,500. Collect your money, and then the action of the first round begins, which is 1 stock pulled from the stockpile, because we're on the stock auction. Now the player whose turn it is begins to bid for this stock. I'll just say it out loud, the next player say, the next player say, and if you say pass, you're out of the auction. And it just continues around until one player wins the auction and collects the card. Let's say this player won, I collect the card, I pay the bank the money, and I get 1 action card for winning the auction. Next round begins. Next player gets the dice, throws the dice, collects income. On this square it's an art auction, and this question mark means that it's a secret auction. Art comes up for sale, and then everyone writes down a number on their phone or on a piece of paper, and then decides who wins the auction. The winner of the auction gets the artwork. Let's say this guy wins, and an action card. The art cards doesn't have any numbers on them. Their value is that if you draw an action card who's also an art buyer, it looks like this. You will receive the money that states on this card. So for each artist there is 1 connected art buyer in this pile that will pay you between 25 and 36,000. So for this card, for example, 32,000. If you have this, if you own this art card and you get this art buyer, you may hand both of these cards into the bank and receive this amount of money. In addition to that, an art card can be sold at any time using a dice. Throw it 4 times, add up all the numbers and multiply it by 1,000. But if you throw a 1 or a 2, you have to stop throwing. So you can either get 1,000 or 24,000 for your card. Next round, move the bull, give the dice to the next player. He throws, collects his income from the bank, and this time it's inside information, which is a small game inside the game. It contains these cards, which I shuffle. There are 3 colors and there are 5 cards of each color. And under each card there is 1 amount. And you see, if I turn this around, it has 25,000, one of the amounts. So how this game works is that I shuffle them, I put 1 card randomly down from each color, and then I start with the player whose turn it is. I hand out all the cards. So now the players may bid for each card. So we start with the yellow one, and you see now that this player has some information on his hand. He knows that 5,000 is not going to be under here because he has it. So he knows that this can either be 0, 10,000, 15, 20. Let's say they all bid for the yellow card and they bid 10,000, and this player bids 10,000, he wins the auction, he turns it around and it's 15,000, which means he will get then 5,000 from the bank and receive one action card. So this continues with the orange and the red. Let's say somebody bids 10,000 for this one, turns it around, it's 14, he gets 4,000 and an action card. If you bid 10,000 for this and gets it, you turn it around, you get 20, you earn 10,000 and an action card. Wow, that was a good round. After the round, collect all the cards back together so they're ready for the next playthrough. And then give the dice on to the next player, move the bull, throw the dice, collect income from the bank, and then on this square it's a stock auction times 2, which means 2 stocks are pulled from the pile and they are sold together as a package. So the bidding usual goes around, and whoever wins these 2 pays the bank, receives an action card. Next round, player throws for his income. He has a lot of stocks now, so you have to add up all these, roll the dice, multiply it by 3. And on this round it's the telecom license that's up for sale. And this card is a bit special. It is a bit like a stock in that you get 500 times the eyes on the dice every turn. But you also have the option of throwing the dice again if you own this card. If you get like a 1 or a 2, you want to take a chance and get a higher return. The third thing that's special about this card is that if you buy it, you get it and the action card. But then the next time the bull is on the license square, you have to sell it. And now it's your opponents who will bid for it and you will receive the money it sells for. So, next round. Collect income, art auction. New art card comes up for grabs. They bid for it, somebody gets it, somebody gets an action card also, and then the last round of the, the circle is the market. And this is a bit of a special square because, of course, first move the dice, get the income, but then this player, whose turn it is, will decide then who has to sell something. So he may point to this player and the player will have to sell either a stock card or an art card. So if he decides to sell this, for example, these 2 will then bid for it. He can't bid for it because he's the seller. If this player wins it, this player now decides who's going to sell, himself or this player. If he chooses this player, he might sell this to this player, and he now chooses this player to sell because this is the only option, because he hasn't sold anything yet. He has to sell at least 1 stock or an art card, but he could do something like this and something like this if he wants to, and sell more stuff in the package for these 2 players to pay more. So let's say this player buys that. Every time somebody bought something, they each get this action card, of course, I forgot. When the bull is on this square, each player has the opportunity to buy a yacht. This yacht costs 50,000 equity dollars, but you have to own one of these in order to be able to win the game. So let's say one of these players also buys the yacht. For the next round, it's the same as before, and the bull will just move around until somebody has a yacht and 50,000. If you have a yacht and 50,000, you may claim to be the victor. But if somebody else also has a yacht and more money than you, they will win the game instead of you. So be careful, because somebody might have more than you without you knowing it, or they might have art they can sell, or they might have fines to give you. So it's always good to have a little bit more than a yacht and 50,000 when you say that you are the winner. The action cards, most of them can be played at any time during the game, except for this one called option. The option card is only valid after one of these stock auctions. And if you have the option card of the mining corp, you have to wait until this card is sold either to this player or this player for a given price, and then you can say, aha, I have this card and I will buy it from you for half the price. So other than those cards, most of the action cards can be played at any time. Trading with other players can happen at any time during the game. So I hope the video was helpful and that you'll be able to play it after watching this video and consulting the rulebook as you play along. The game is played best by 3 to 6 players, suggested from 12 years up, and it takes about 1 to 1.5 hours. Thanks for watching.